Hey guys, Harv here, and welcome back to Career Mode, the first episode in the series with post-commentary Harvey. Hello! There he is, post-commentary Harvey. Say hello again, post-commentary Harvey. No thanks. Alright, fine. We are here in our science archives. No, we're in the technology section actually. I like the idea of the science archives, but surely it should be like the technology archives or something. Oh, I don't know, this commentary's going rubbish already. This is the third time I've made this video. Third time! First two I didn't use because they were journeys to the South Pole, and that was kind of boring. It wasn't really... It was just like, hey guys, we've built a plane, and now we're flying a plane, and now we've landed the plane, and that's it, bye. Yeah, it wasn't particularly entertaining. So instead we have this. An hour-and-a-half mission to Juna, again, which may seem, oh, that's just the same as last time, that's also going to be boring, but it gets a bit interesting, and I won't spoil it. So this should be quite good. Condensed down, I may add, an hour and a half, condensed down into about 20 minutes, so there's a lot of editing, just like this. So we've built a ship, and essentially all we've done is taken our old Juna craft and added some science to it. Unfortunately I missed out one crucial thing, but it doesn't make too much difference, that's fine. Basically, the problem we experienced last time with this craft was that the parachutes were below the centre of mass, and therefore when they ejected, or when they deployed, they tilted the ship to point nose down, which wasn't particularly great. We managed to solve it eventually by just very rigidly aligning the centre of mass directly over the centre of lift from the parachutes, and then just keeping it steady manually. But hopefully we'll be able to do the same, if not something else, to solve that problem this time around, because we haven't been changed. So, we launch our craft exactly the same, which is why we've got a lot of nice beautiful crossfading as we get up. We get out into space, we eject that launch stage and start burning with the orbital stage until we're in an orbit, and then we set up our maneuver node and get ourselves, hopefully, an encounter. Now, I had a bit of trouble in this episode of encounters, but I think the majority of this has been edited out. Yeah, see, there we go. We do a bit of burning, and ooh, there we go. We have an encounter. Excellent. There was 5 minutes of work, condensed down into 30 seconds. And we get our encounter. We get our periapsis as low as possible by burning as early as possible, which, for those of you who don't know, is the most efficient way to do things. The earlier you can affect your trajectory, for a set point in space, you know, a certain amount of time later, the less fuel it will take you to make the same degree of change than if you were closer to that point. I bet there's a better way of explaining it, but I can't really think how. Essentially, if you're on the opposite side of the solar system and you do your change, then in most cases you're going to spend less fuel to do the same change than you would if you were 10 kilometers away from the point where you want to change your position in space to. That doesn't really make sense. It's like, yeah, whatever. It's fine. It works. Burn earlier, kids. And that's the moral of the story. And that's what we do. We burn, we leave Kerbal. You can see the bar there, delta V, getting lower and lower and lower. 10 meters per second left. And we can cut at about 0.5. Excellent, okay. And there is our near encounter. Do a bit of strategic burning, pointing straight down because we didn't quite get it aligned on the trajectory that we wanted. And there we actually have our proper encounter rather than the planned encounter. So we leave the Kerbal system and we go for this quick transfer from the middle-ish Kerbal orbit to the high-ish Juna orbit. Really transferring from one to the other. I bet we could make a craft that has so much delta V we can just travel in straight lines from one to the other. That's a goal I want to do at some point. Maybe a one-off mission at some point, which I'll be doing more of, one-off missions. Because they're fun, you know. I feel there's a lot of stuff I haven't done that I don't really want to make a series out of, but I can just do in one-off missions. So, more of that coming. And so we're here. We're here in the Juna system. That didn't take long, did it? 4 minutes 30. We're already here. Crikey, how's this video managed to be 20 minutes long? So, we have our periapsis, we have our trajectory going past Juna, and what we could do is go straight down to the atmosphere, which is fine. That's what we did last time. But Ike is there. And I don't particularly want to land on Ike, but, you know, we have enough science, we have some extra goo ganisters. Perhaps if we had a close flyby with Ike, we could get a bit of extra science. So I desperately and futilely try and get an encounter straight off. Doesn't happen. But what I do from there, is use this maneuver node, and it tells us that we're going to get an encounter about there. So if we slow down sufficient just to keep ourselves in the solar system, come around, we'll get an encounter with Ike, which will slow us down even more, and then we should just drop down onto the Juna atmosphere. Which will probably take a bit more delta V than just going into the atmosphere, but it'll be quite good, I think. It might be okay. So, already we have a bit of an interesting orbit. However, when we come to actually do that plan, when we come to actually pull off the maneuver, it doesn't quite go the same way. In fact, the maneuver node, the encounter with Ike that we were going to have according to the maneuver node, is actually in a completely different place, pretty much. So you see here, we carry on burning, 16.7 meters per second, so we just turn this, and it actually ends up being all the way over there, which means that we actually get ejected further out into the solar system. I mean, we stay in orbit, but we're already in orbit now, so that's not really an improvement. But after some bit of editing, we managed to... oh, come on. A bit of editing, a bit of burning. Whoa, what is that trajectory? Crikey. Interesting how orbital mechanics work, eh? And the fact is, you can actually get trajectories that look like that. Although this is because this is a workaround to the three-body problem that isn't quite perfect. With the three-body problem, you can actually get trajectories which are even more crazy than that. It's actually quite hilarious if you look at a trajectory for a very long, tall object in orbit around a deformed moon, something that's not a regular sphere. Its trajectory is fantastic. It's really, really weird. I mean, plotting where the centre of mass actually goes, it's fantastic. Anyway, more on long, tall objects in the future with the science videos that shall be coming. I've got a series, or not a series, I've got a Christmas Thoughts on 2013 video coming, which I've already recorded, and it's essentially a massive thank you for the success I've had with the channel this year, and it's a bit of detail on what's going to be happening next year on my channel. And the conclusion, TLDR, is that it's going to be freaking awesome. This channel, hopefully, should I find the time, which I will make time to find, which doesn't make sense, but whatever, go with it, will be very, very cool next year. I've got a lot of interesting ideas, so keep an eye out for that Thoughts on 2013 video. It should be coming fairly soon. It'll probably be like the week before. Oh, hang on, that's like now, isn't it? Huh. Well, I might upload it on Boxing Day or something. You never know. But anyway, back to the video. We came down, we had a periapsis on Ike of about 20 kilometers, and when we hit that 20 kilometer periapsis, we did a goo canister and a crew report. And that was all the science we took from Ike. It wasn't much. It would have been a hell of a lot more if we'd landed. But then again, we don't know if we've really got the fuel to do that and still land on Juna. And there's probably a lot more science to be had on doing a repeat Juna test than there is on doing a single Ike test. Right? Nope. No, not really. Because of how they've changed the repeat system. Just repeating the same experiments down on Juna will give us less science than doing fresh experiments on Ike. Which is quite interesting. So maybe we should have landed on Ike, but we'll see about this later. However, we have of course brought along the goo canisters and the inline science module, which we didn't bring along last time. So we will actually be getting a lot more science than we did last time, because last time we only had surface sample, EVA report, and crew reports to go on. So yeah, it wasn't a particularly large amount of science, which is why we're back here today. And also IVA view, this is something I want to mention. IVA view is pretty fantastic. I've never really taken advantage of it beforehand, but it's really, really useful. Being able to have all these dials very close together. It looks cool being in it, and it's quite nice just piloting from the inside, although I do swap out because I'm not quite that confident yet. And you'll notice that we didn't even deploy the parachutes, but we are down on the surface nonetheless. Reason being that I thought, okay, if we just have the top command module parachute deployed in order to point us the correct way, we'll use our engines and just be a bit more careful. Because I really don't want to have to quick load, and I don't want anything to go wrong. So here we are, down on the surface, doing our inline module thing that gave us about 100 science. The crew report actually doesn't give us any science. It seems that you can only do that once. You can't repeat it in the same situation and get more science from it. And similarly, EVA report has the same problem. However, we will take a surface sample, which will give us a very, very small amount of science. Yeah, repeats really are quite bad, aren't they? Man, oh well. Oh well. We can take this knowledge and use it in the future. And perhaps go to Ike in the near future. because it's all well and good being here down on the surface of Juna, and when we had such an opportunity to land on Ike and didn't take it, it's a bit disappointing that, you know, we'd probably have to end up going back to Ike anyway otherwise. Or would we? I mean, we did this mission before, a simple mission to Juna, and we had plenty of fuel when we finished, so maybe, just maybe, we can burn straight up, and using that extra amount of fuel that we would have had otherwise, we can actually land on Ike. And that'll make this video that bit more interesting rather than just being the same mission over again. Hopefully. I mean, it's already a bit more interesting because, or at least a bit different, a bit varied, because it's post-commentary rather than live commentary. So it's basically for everyone who didn't take the time to watch that hour and 20 minute long Juna mission. For those who prefer that in post-commentary, here you go. You've basically had it here. Plus extra. Plus a special feature, a one-off Ike landing. And this leaves the question, or this begs the question, if I were to use that kind of vocabulary, what are we going to be landing on next? Well, our final overall goal for the series, I've decided, because I don't want career mode to go on too long, I think there is only really one goal that you can successfully attribute to career mode, as in just the mode itself that's unique to it, and that's completing the science tree. I mean, you could say, okay, take samples from every biome, but there's tons of biomes across the solar system, and I don't really want to do that. Sounds a bit... I mean, I'll try and get as many as possible to get as much science as possible to complete the tree faster, but if we've completed the tree, I'm not going to bother going on any more repeat missions or anything. So yes, that is the aim, to fill out the entire tree, and that may be happening sooner than expected. It won't be this episode, obviously, although we do get quite a bit of science in this episode. However, things may still go wrong. Things certainly have time to go wrong. We've got to land down on Ike, but unfortunately we left our landing gear down on the surface of Juna, I believe, or we left them wherever we detached the landing gear from. So we don't have any landing gear, but this is fine, because I've played this game for 3 years. I'm well accustomed to making emergency manual landings. In fact, when the first versions of the game were released, along with something to actually land on, i.e. the moon, we didn't have landing legs for the longest time. Back in my day, we used to land on the engine nozzles, and it's quite nostalgic to actually do that again. So that's what's happening. We burned the orbit from the orbit we put ourselves into, and bringing ourselves down to the ground using our IVA mode. Maybe I'll do some one-off missions with IVA. I think I have done IVA to the moon before, haven't I? Or was that... no, that was no map view. A very long time ago I did mission to the moon without map view. I might do IVA to the moon, actually. I think some people have already done it, but I could maybe take it further. Maybe try IVA to the stars. When I say that, I mean to the planets. Obviously, there's no other solar systems. Wouldn't it be amazing if you do IVA to other solar systems? That would be fantastic. Anyway, coming down, 100 meters off the ground, 10 meters per second, 820, bounce a bunny hop. And coming down 4 meters per second, engine burning lightly. You can just see the thing there. And I pussy out and swap back out. I should do more IVA landings. It's fun. In fact, maybe we'll do Telemachus or something and get someone else to tell me the information whilst I do entirely IVA. That could make interplanetary a lot easier. And there we go, down on the surface using our engine nozzles and tanks just to kind of stop us from falling over. We do a crew report here. Actually, no, hang on. That was a review of the surface sample. We reset the goo and do the experiments here, and we get about 70 or so. Crew assessment, and whatever the amount we got, we transferred it all. I think that was 40 science there. We transferred it all because it was 100% transmit rate, and now a surface sample, or an EVA report and a surface sample, which has given us a lot of science. Now, if this video wasn't sped up, I'd be able to tell you how much science, but I guess we'll be able to see at the end of the video, which is coming fairly shortly. So, this flag name is really weird. I don't know why I called it. You know what I mean. It's like 2 steps. We land on Juna, or we came near Ike and then landed on Juna, and then we had to go back to Ike, so it's kind of a jump back. It didn't really make sense. Anyway, we transfer more information, and it was 240 science from the surface sample from Ike. That's a way more than the repeats we got on Juna, I think. I think it is. But at any rate, it's time to take our samples home. There's no chance of us going anywhere else. We're not going to go back on Juna. Oh, we didn't go to the North Pole. Hang on, we'll land back on Juna and go to the North Pole. No, we won't. It's time for us to get home, and I'm not even sure we'll be able to manage that. I mean, we do not have an awful lot of fuel. Bearing in mind, when we did the mission last, we had almost the entirety of our landing stage and the entirety of this stage. But who knows, I mean, we are already out of Juno's atmosphere, so this is slightly easier from this position. And in fact, it is very easy from this position to get the trajectory we need, because we just burn up. It's actually quite interesting that you can just burn up and get the, basically, I mean, it's not perfect, but you can get almost the correct ejection angle. I'm not sure how efficient it is, but okay, yeah, that's almost the correct ejection angle, not quite. I should have burnt a bit closer and had a closer encounter with Juno just then, but oh well. Now we bring it down, and we hope for the best, because I haven't done any career mode, I haven't done any encounter planning. And that was silly of me, because it ends up that Kerbal is on the other side of the solar system when we get down. So we keep on burning, we keep on lowering our periapsis down below June's orbit, down nearly at Moho orbit, using way too much fuel, but eventually we do, after an awful lot of flickering, get an encounter. And there we go. Can't see much more because we haven't left the June system yet, but upon time warping we do see that yes, we definitely have an encounter, and we don't have much fuel left. 20.58 units of liquid fuel, that's equivalent to about 2 seconds of burning, I think. 2 seconds of full throttle burning. And it doesn't help that everything's shaking, because I can't really get a good fixture on the periapsis to know which direction to burn, but I try anyway, because burning early as possible is the most efficient way to burn, as has already been stated. So, what was that, 14 million meters, 12 million meters, 11 million meters, 9, 8, 7, 6, bringing our periapsis down, 5, any last bids, and the shaking stops, which is quite useful. So that's about 4 point something million meters away. We turn, try and burn prograde, and this only raises our periapsis. So we turn again, point retrograde, and we do manage to bring it down even further. 4 million meters, 3 million meters, 2 million, or 1 million, and we have a crash. Or we have a trajectory to take us straight down onto the surface of Kerbal. I was about to speak and swallow at the same time. Damn. Ow, that was painful. Okay, never mind. So, we're coming down. With our multitude of flags, we can tell that this is in fact our home system, and our periapsis is about 100 kilometers off the surface. That's fine. We can just burn at 270 degrees and bring it down to within the atmosphere. And there we go. So, what do we need to do? Reset the parachute. But we can't just detach from our command module. I mean, we can't use the decoupler that we have, because this is our science. Our science is contained on the actual ship itself, so we've got to save every single part, pretty much. And with not an awful lot of fuel, and a parachute that's only determined or only equipped to carry one command module, this still has plenty of a risk associated with it. So we hurtle down through the atmosphere, we burn up, we're coming down 7 kilometers, 6 kilometers, 5 kilometers, look at our fuel, 20 something liters. Okay, the parachute has been deployed. Bringing it down, bringing it down. If we're travelling too fast and the parachute deploys, it could in fact snap off, so we start burning a bit early. Bring it down. Oh, beautiful deployments. 11.5 meters per second, and we still have a lot of fuel left, actually. Maybe I underestimated the efficiency of this engine. But whatever the case, we start burning again. 7 meters per second, and we are touched down in the water. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. A trip to Ike, a trip to Juno, and a trip back to Ike, all in one mission. And that's quite good, I think, quite impressive, considering A, we didn't even use nuclear engines. We got 742.5 science, that's loads, that's fantastic. And that is plenty to start unlocking a few more things, including atomic motors, because those are the perfect interplanetary engines, and we would definitely make good use out of them. So, what shall we unlock? First of all, I want to get advanced construction, because that will lead us on to docking, which is something that I really would like. I've said so quite a few times. Also get this, which leads us on to our Rockamax and 3-meter big tanks, which is something else I'd like. Make it more efficient launch stages, or just easier launch stages, really. But we'll unlock the docking, which will lead us on to more docking, which we don't really want right now. We've still got like 500 science, is that? I can't see because it's low resolution. 600 science, I think. Probably completely wrong. What else do we want to unlock? We've got command pods there, RCS tanks. Useful for docking, RCS tanks. Do you want to take them? Maybe? No? Okay. Well, we do want those, definitely. Oh yes, and this will lead us on to the atomic motors. So we do get the RCS tanks, and we can, as our last upgrade, pick up the atomic rocket motor. And that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'd like to remind you all that there is an event happening in the UK in Droitwich on the 11th of January, which I will be attending. There's a link in the description that I beg you to read. Please do come, it's going to be fantastic. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.